Hi, I'm Margaret, and these little mini rum babas I've got for you today are going to be quite the treat. Each one is like a little pillow filled with beautiful sweet flavoured syrup. Today I've used the traditional rum flavour but given it a hint of orange. So let's take a look at what we're going to need. We're going to make a sweet batter for this recipe, which is going to be quite rich on eggs. Using strong plain flour and yeast will give it a stronger texture. The yeast will help it to rise, and that will help to form the little air pockets in each rum baba, which we will fill later with the lovely flavoured syrup. Do you know, I've always been fascinated with how yeast works and how it affects the baking process. Many years ago, when I was a teenager having my home economics lessons at school, we were making bread one day, and I remember the teacher saying to us, once the flour was in the bowl, that we should put our yeast in the centre of the bowl and the salt around the edges, and then mix it together. Well, the logic behind this, of course, is that the salt will stop the yeast from working, and this would spoil the bread. I remember asking her at the time, then why do we mix them together? Surely they'll touch anyway. I don't think I ever got an answer to it. I can only assume that once the salt is diluted by the flour, it doesn't matter too much. If you know the answer, do let me know in the comments below. I'd really like to know the reason behind it. Anyway, back to the recipe. The melted butter shouldn't be too hot. I've let it cool a little, and I'm going to put it in a few little batches, giving it a good whisk in between. Once it's all in, we need to give it a mighty whisk to make sure everything's beautifully incorporated. It should be able to drip off the whisk just like this. You can put it into the moulds with a spoon, but I find the easiest way of doing it evenly is using a piping bag. It's got quite a stringy consistency, so it's not an easy job filling the bag, but it's worth it in the end. I find as the mixture is so runny, I need to use a little clip to make sure it doesn't come out of the wrong end. Better safe than sorry. I found these cute little mini Jugelhof moulds online, and they seemed perfect for this little job. You could use the traditional Savarin mould, or even a cupcake tray would do nicely. I'm filling them about halfway up. Then I'm going to leave them somewhere warm so that the yeast can do its job and help them to rise. In about an hour they should double in size, but if they haven't, leave them a little longer. This is what they look like beforehand. And then with a little patience, and when they're like this, pop them into the oven for just 10 minutes and they should rise even more. And when they've cooled a little, just pop them out. Now it's time to make that lovely syrup. We'll start with a plain sugar syrup. I like to use golden castor sugar, it gives it a lovely brown colour. It needs to bubble on the stove until the sugar's completely dissolved. And once the rum's in, Let's bring it to the boil again. I like to add the flavours after the syrup is cooked. I feel they have a greater intensity. A little vanilla and a little orange will do the job nicely. And once these are stirred in, I like to pop it into a bowl and let it cool just for a little while. It still needs to be warm, just not piping hot. Each one of these little rum babas need to be soaked in the syrup. I tend to put about 4 in at a time. I don't want to put in too many. And then I push them down a little bit with a spoon, just until all the bubbles have gone. And then I know they're completely soaked in the syrup. The shape of these lend themselves well to leaving a little bit of rum syrup in the hole in the top. This will make sure that they're absolutely gorgeous and syrupy. I often go a step further and brush them on top with a little bit of dark rum. Once they're all done, they're ready to be served. A few raspberries and a dollop of raspberry ripple ice cream go really well with these. Ooh, and don't forget to pour on more of that beautiful syrup. I do hope you've enjoyed making and baking with me today. Have a great week, and I'll catch you very soon.